Kia ora e te whānau, no mai haere mai ki te o Tauhaki, Christchurch. My name is Blem Monroe. Welcome back to my good friend Kelsey Bielik, who's joining me in the booth. It is the 2025 Division 2, I'm actually going to say it this time, Ultimate Championships here at Bob Deansfield in Hagley Park in Christchurch. A fantastic game here for you. In our women's division, we have the Phoenix from Canterbury facing off against Dunedin's Woof.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
Beautiful day here in Aotearoa, Christchurch, and really stoked about this rumbling South Island He Waiponamu matchup. Right now the sun has come out. It was a bit overcast this morning. Sun has come out and we have a really strong crossfield wind actually. So keep an eye out for that this game. The disc now, pull goes up from Altenberg carry and sails down, beautifully placed on the low side of the field. So as I just mentioned, a crossfield wind and picking up on the low side, an intimidating place to be for the handler, proving not to be an issue. A great high take from Phoenix. Phoenix, of course, coming out in orange-red, that red classic Canterbury color, but orange. Meanwhile, Dunedin is responding in white with the black shorts, white-blue DMT. Altenberg carry with the disc.
Pushing forward up that near sideline. Nice shot over the Phoenix defense there to have Altenberg carry. Again, putting a nice high release up. Red, but blocked.
And you know, Altenberg carry, expecting to see great things like we just saw, but expecting to see more great things from her. She was actually the MVP in the South Island qualifiers for the tournament. So really, yeah, carrying her team. Also such a positive player. So expecting to see a lot of great things from her on the field. But we have Phoenix right now launching downfield. Oh.
Once again, Altenberg carry shutting that one down. We're seeing DMT play a zone defense. So over the course of the tournament we've had so far, we've recognized there's a lot of wind, a lot of gustiness. Chandra with the disc on the near sideline, playing for number 25 for DMT. A nice upwind flick.
Great cleanup there.
Received well.
Exemplifying the importance of backing up your teammates, you know, especially in windy conditions when the disc goes up. It's anyone's game. Adams launching it. Indeed, by Phoenix. I really like the tenacity that they're bringing out. That's huge, 2 huge Ds in a row. You know, DMT would be making these connections, but Phoenix is getting in the way, really throwing a wrench in the gears for them.
Yeah, doing a fantastic job of shutting down anything as it starts to approach that end zone. That's the biggest thing. I mean, that's where defense has to happen, if nowhere else. So it's good to see the Phoenix have a great degree of intention. The disc comes in a little bit popical, a little bit low, but it's going to be intercepted and quickly snapped back in the opposite direction by Woof.
And Woof very patient right now as they're finding the open players. I really like to see the poach in the lane that Phoenix is putting out. That's really intelligent, especially with the wind. Disc goes high and floats out of bounds. And you know, when you expose the underside of the disc to the wind like that, when you don't angle it quite correctly, it's going to do that. The wind is going to pick it up and float it where it wants to be, and that's usually out of bounds.
So that zone again, closing the trap right in that coffin corner, as you've mentioned a couple of times throughout our broadcasts today. Kelsey, just how difficult a corner it is to play from, especially when conditions are starting to become very nice and blustery. I say nice. Definitely very blustery. Big fake from Altenberg carry to push Chandra into the deep space. She's underneath for an option. Not quite there, but it's still going to be pulled in. Gooden has it on the doorstep. Are we going to see that same aggressive defense from Phoenix that has allowed them to shut things down right here on the doorstep? Or are we able to chip it through for an early Woof score? Yes, we are.
Beautiful connection there. A little hug at the end from that Phoenix player. And great movements. I really enjoy seeing on the field here, especially, I think that was a rainbow point, everyone from DMT touching the disc. Looking downfield, Gooden reels in the disc there. Altenberg carry with that high release. Her movement with the disc, her ability to put it, especially in windy conditions like this, anywhere on the field, is just so impressive to see. And say with that little, maybe a body check, I like to think a hug. A congratulatory hug at that safe catch in the end zone.
I mean, whether you're expecting it or not, a chest bump's a chest bump, you know?
There you go, there you go.
So, Woof currently up by 1 to come out on defense now. a great opportunity for them to really make their mark on this game, to start things off with a huge amount of fire to respond to what the Phoenix have brought, especially with those emphatic blocks on the doorstep, right on the edge of the end zone, to keep Woof away from score. Now they've managed to break through that initial seal, and we're going to see what happens with these teams. Are we going to see similar defense? Are we going to see the same response or an equivalent amount of energy, amount of effort on defense from Woof, hoping to widen the game even further?
The disc goes up, and this time face to the wind, which pushes it down. It drops a little bit faster. We've got Phoenix coming down, fielding to pick up. Nice movement, as expected. Oh, there's been a stoppage. Potentially, I wasn't sure if that was an injury call. Yeah, retracted. We can hear the disc is coming in on 0. Maruli de Barretta looking for options. Great interception there. Visibility of field awareness and movement. Really great poise, great throws in the wind right now. We're seeing nice level kind of across the team with DMT, with Woof, sorry. Oh, taking to the skies to get the D, but you're going to have to catch your Ds if you want to keep them out of the hands of those tenacious Woof players. Another point on the board for Woof.
Huge play getting up to touch that one, but as we've mentioned a couple of times, it's hard to block softly. So you get up big, you take a nice big swipe at the disc, and depending on whereabouts you hit it, whether it's on the rim, on the edge, the rim that's moving forward, the rim that's moving towards you, you can often restabilize a disc and give it an extra couple of meters, and that's what we saw here. I think that was Kat Adams for the score.
One thing that I'm really excited about with these two teams also, just to kind of bring it back,
Roberts for the score.
Bringing it back to both teams. Aside from the excitement of this matchup, of course, being a South Island's Hawaii Pounamu matchup between both teams, just a comment on both teams. It's really cool to see Phoenix playing. Phoenix, a development team as part of the wider Credo Club in Christchurch, but just seeing how far they've come together, putting so much effort into not only developing newer players within the community, but also kind of retaining that knowledge, that experience, and seeing the tenacity, case in point right there, the Ds, especially defensively in the first point, that they're bringing against Woof. And in the meantime, Woof as well as a team. From Dunedin, they've had some superstars coming out of that club in the past. Currently playing internationally even. Representatives on national teams. Recently, Kotare at the World Masters Ultimate Championships and Manuka at the World Ultimate Championships on the Gold Coast in Australia. On this team right now, Altenberg Carey, case in point, playing with Manuka. But they've lost, unfortunately, especially with the university scene in Dunedin, they've lost quite a few of those players. So really cool to see a lot of the fostering of talents coming up through the club, and I think a really strong matchup between both teams.
Absolutely. So seeing Phoenix coming out in a horizontal stack, using the width of the field, trying to get around the oppressive Woof defense. But we're going to see a turnover generated. It's going to give Altenberg Carey a great opportunity to initiate the offense here. Supported by Chandran in the upfield space, setting up, looking like she's going to try and make a placement for an upline cut. Decides not to go. There it is. Starts to happen now, but the defense is just 2 in the way. Altenberg Carey starting to be under pressure. Decides to go backwards for a reset. Finds Collier. To Chandran.
And a little bit of a messy stack. I'm nervous about a pick happening if cuts are happening out of the front. Nice movement. Finding Gooden. To Adams.
Great left forehand flick there on that near sideline to put that one away. Woof going to go up by 3 over Phoenix.
Creating some drama in that space for her defender, Adams, as she's cutting around, looking for open options and giving an easy throw on the open side. There's Gooden right there. Easy throw on the open side. Just having that separation to make an easy catch. A great point for Woof. Now, if you're hearing the hooter go off in the background, that's for the open teams. That's for the separate division. If you tuned in earlier today, we've been commentating a few opens games as well. The women's division. Now, if you're looking for mixed ultimate, that championship will be coming up in the other half of the year. Actually, starting when this tournament finishes, the mixed season will be starting in New Zealand. A bit different from our colleagues across generally the Northern Hemisphere, who normally either play mixed or opens or women's. They choose the division, and that's the type of player they are. Here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, we get opportunities to play in both divisions. If you so choose as an ultimate player, there's opportunities to play year round.
Yeah, one of the benefits of a relatively smaller player base is that, particularly when we're trying to create a large number of mixed teams, we're taking players who are getting, essentially, they're cutting their teeth here in the women's and opens division, and then we're getting to see how they integrate into a mixed gender team, which is absolutely fantastic to see.
Great movement from Phoenix right now. In response to the zone, a high disc sees its way to the ground.
Woof with a chance here. Roxburgh to receive the disc. Great one-handed grab there. Simmons having to go back around. It's a little bit high. We're going to see Van Can get underneath it. Mercer for Phoenix to initiate. Pushes wide towards the far sideline. McIntosh coming back towards center field with a quick 1-2, trying to get out in front of that Woof zone. We're seeing a lot of players gathered up, but it's doing what it's supposed to do, forcing the players to go backwards and forwards across the field. Now, we've mentioned a couple of times about how much wind we're dealing with. On our field in particular, in front of your screens, team, we have a crosswind, so from one side to the other. So forcing the teams to use the width of the field forces them to play with and against the wind, constantly changing what kind of adjustments they have to make, forcing teams to be really, really precise with their throws. And so any opportunities, a great touch there by Phoenix defense to shut that one down.
Maruli de Barletta looking deep, and I love that option, that huge open side gainer, the cross field to the open side. However, with the wind at the back, as Blair was just explaining, pushing cross field, it's tough to reel in the power there. When the wind is pushing it a little bit farther, you want to reel it in and put maybe a little bit less touch on the disc than you would otherwise. So a difficult, difficult, especially when it's fading away from the receiver. Difficult to reel back in.
And that's one of the reasons why we're seeing so much success at the moment from the Woof zone.
Ursua reading, catching. Good read.
Just constantly forcing players to recalibrate. A nice little touch is not going to be enough. Liston's going to pull that one down for Woof.
Paquin
puts high, far sideline.
Simmons launches it deep, looking for Ursua again, but she can't reel it in. You know, her cutting in this game, I'm pleased to announce that she recently made the move up to Christchurch, and being a Christchurch, despite the accent, a Christchurch native currently based here myself, the opportunity to play with her, because we can see those cuts just punishing, but a great option. We have Phoenix on offense, Karis de Barletta, Maruli de Barletta with disc in hand.
Those downfield players in the zone doing a fantastic job of just stifling some of those undercuts, the attempts by Phoenix's offense to push in to get close enough to the disc to create those opportunities. Covered tightly by the Woof defense is going to shut them down, generating that turnover. We have Roxburgh with the disc now, working with Simmons.
Simmons moving her mark. We see those big fakes. Really valuable when you want to move your mark around.
Berrios with the disc now. Little pop pass through to Simmons, coming wide near sideline, one-handed take. It's gonna be good.
And you know that problem we were seeing in the other end zone with the fading wide, not an issue here. You know, while that was a downwind throw, she did such a good job. Once, and we're gonna see back to Simmons making that handler cut, a straight cut, but she does such a good job of reeling in the power. What are your thoughts, Blair?
The timing on Paquin's cut right there. Waiting until the disc left the hand, saw Simmons was targeting, was going to get hands to it, and it's that split second thinking, now is the time to go for my cut. By the time I have my first or second step on my defense, I know that Zoe's going to have her hands on the disc and ready to throw. And so it's just that timing, that level of, I know my teammates, I know how good they are, I know their timing, I know how long it takes them to get ready, where they're going to put the throw, how far in front they're going to put. It was just a perfect sequence there from Woof on that final possession of the point. They are now up by 4 points. Kei mua ma te whā.
Wow. How did that happen? Phoenix has been out here firing so hard on defense. These points have snuck away from me. Yeah, they're really grinding. I'm really enjoying the connections they're making. Now is their opportunity. I mean, like the other 3 points as well, but to put one on the board. Let's see what they can do coming out on offense right now.
I think one of the biggest things that we're seeing from Phoenix now is we're seeing a huge amount of defensive intensity, but it's just maybe the pieces aren't quite there on offense. So there's a great steal there by Reynolds from Woof. Pushing wide. Reynolds again. Right-handed backhand, pushing through, looking for Gillespie. Not able to uncork that one. So came out a little bit with a little bit of wobble. The wind is going to take that one to the ground. Phoenix have a chance now.
And it looks like they're running a transition zone. I think that's a really good call, especially how successful it's been for the past few points. A zone, of course, it looks like an arrowhead, but putting a lot of pressure on the throws. They're forcing throws, giving some easy options that they want to force, options that aren't too risky. But the more throws you put up, of course, the more likely you are to eventually mess something up. Launching it deep. There's double coverage. And she was there but could not reel it in. Really great look by James.
Beautiful positioning by James. But yeah, as you say, if you throw a 99% throw, there's a 99% chance that that's going to be a result in a completion. If you throw 2, if you throw 3, if you throw 4, anything less than perfection, that error creeps in. And just the more throws that a defensive side can force, the more likely they are to be able to generate the turn, whether or not it's through a game of millimeters, whether it's through accumulation of fatigue. Chandra doing a great amount of work in that handle space. Puts it a little low, not going to be reeled in by Gillespie.
I love that execution, though.
And just the movement around the disc as well, right? On and off. It's like they say, everybody wants to play like Steph Curry until it's time to play like Steph Curry. It's all about that movement off disc in this case that we're going to see some really fantastic handler work here. Great take by Hayes for Phoenix. Looking around, wanting support. Drops it through to Jones Rawson.
And great safe swinging movements. But it's tough. It's tough with that high side look. You know, that's exactly what they're forcing. They're giving you the option of swinging to the high side. It's an open opportunity for you. But the wind is helping out as that third defender on the field, that third team. Fortunately, the wind's not picky at who they're playing defense against.
Good in. Finding Reynolds. Not quite in just yet. Right on the doorstep, though. Just a couple passes away from glory and a 5-point lead. Are they going to be able to execute, or is the Phoenix's defense going to be enough to shut it down? Finds the comfortable reset in Ogilvy. One-handed take for Gooden.
Launching it. That looks like a huck from the end zone line, though. She put so much power behind it. I think she had eyes on the receiver, wanted to make sure it was slicing through the wind. But, yeah.
There was a lot of heat on that one. That carried.
Yeah, she's a big dog out there with big throws on her. You know, if anything, it's showing the defense that they need to respect the deep space when she's got the disc.
Absolutely. You couple that with the fact that with the gusty wind, it's a little more unpredictable. If you had a strong, consistent breeze, that's one thing. But we're seeing a lot of sort of stop-start. It's blowing, it's not. It's blowing, it's not. Missing the timing on those when you're trying to power a throw, when you're expecting wind and the wind dies down, you start to see those kind of turnovers creeping in.
Oh, Rassignon, what great vision there on the throw. I love that opportunity she's taking, but again, that's exactly what the zone is forcing. It gives you that open player, makes that option enticing, but it is just a riskier option to take. You know, I really respect the throw. You know, in a year's time, she's going to be making that completion.
A year's time, I reckon, by the end of the tournament.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that.
Chandran with the disc, managing to work back infield, cannot get it past Rossignol.
A great run through D. Yeah, great positioning and understanding. Arrowhead zone, that is a lethal zone, a hard place to be stuck as a handler. Right now, Phoenix needs to get it off the sideline. You can see so much pressure around the player. Yeah.
Zone doing what Zone does. Chandran right in the middle to eat that one up. A fantastic, just iron wall over the top. Is there a second option? Yes, there is.
She's a wizard with the disc.
Reynolds now, one more. Once again, one step past.
Amazing.
There it is.
I love this connection. You know, Woof coming out firing, and this is classic what we see. Everyone across the team is just so skilled. They do such a good job in Dunedin at fostering that ability, the trust across the team. And Altenberg carry consistently. I need to have a conversation with her and ask what Hogwarts house she was in, because honestly, there's magic behind how she's manipulating it to fly through the air.
Yeah, and just a fantastic reception by Gillespie as well on that great little upline cut. Now, the score is currently 5-0 in favor of Woof. However, a couple of the matches that we've seen today, we saw earlier, Piano versus Exiles, the Dragon Ladies versus Fresh Hops. The first half of a game seems to, as a theme for this morning, the first half of the game seems to be a little bit one-sided, but we see some second half gear changes in the team that's trailing. We see some pretty impressive comebacks being staged. Still anybody's game, it's still anybody's half. Woof are up by 5. Phoenix probably need to make a couple of adjustments, but they're putting pressure in on defense. They're working hard on offense. They've got a range of throws. They've got the ability to connect with one another to move the disc up the field. It's just something in there needs to be tweaked. Is there too much salt? Is there not enough fat? A little bit more acid, a little bit more heat.
And that is the recipe, Blair, for success. You've nailed it, but you need to balance it right in order to come up with the best culinary dish of all time.
Absolutely. So we're seeing a timeout at the moment. So Woof on your screens at the moment with a little bit of huddle, up by 5. A great opportunity for them to reconsolidate. You're in this situation, Kelsey. We're actually going to be seeing you possibly on our screens next week at the Division 1 Championships, and what a delight that is going to be. But you've been in huddles like this. You've been probably on both sides of these kind of score lines during a timeout. If you're Woof at the moment, what kind of things are you discussing in that huddle?
You know, Blair Monroe, right now, Woof is in a really good position. They're 5 points up. The other team has 0. At the same time, it's their loss, right? If Phoenix starts putting points on the board, you know, it means Woof is messing up. So timeouts like these are an opportunity for the team that's down to bring it together. They're the ones who are going to make the changes, but it's challenging to maintain what you're doing. You're all taking a break. You've been running around, only 5 points. It's the beginning of the game. So the key here is not necessarily to make changes, as we can see from the scoreboard. Everything, again, if I'm in that huddle, everything we've been doing together as a team is the right thing. So what we need to focus on, and so often in situations like this, especially when you're up, maybe the other team isn't playing to their best level, you can play down. You can start playing down to their level. So right now in the circle, we saw a little bit of dancing, a little bit of boogieing over with Woof, and they want to be focusing on maintaining that intensity. A timeout can be a really strategic time, not only if you're down to talk about what you're going to fix, but also to throw, as I've mentioned, a wrench in the momentum, in those gears, the well-oiled gears that are churning out point after point for the other team. So right now, Woof is no doubt talking about how can we keep the intensity high, maintain the pressure, execute the way we're executing, and continue these points on the board.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the biggest things, particularly in the modern media and psychological landscape, it's really, really easy for individuals to figure or focus, rather, on what is not going well, right? Those folks at home, you'll be aware, Instagram gives you a very, very curated sense of other people's lives, and it's easy to make those comparisons based on the true life that you're experiencing as opposed to what other people are showing. Now, it's important to recognize in an environment like that it isn't just about changing what's going wrong, it's about holding on to and maintaining what is going right, and often that can be just as hard a thing to do. So Woof, clearly, a lot of the work that they're putting into this game so far is working for them. I think their zone is doing a huge amount of work for it. And so it's important for them to recognize, hey, our zone is working. We should keep using it until Phoenix have demonstrated that it doesn't work on them anymore.
So you've said it, Blair. So I imagine we're going to see it on the field. It would be silly not to. And that same arrowhead coming out.
Roxborough doing a great job of heading off the chase for the Woof zone.
And one thing that I'm excited to see as well is we see some great swinging movements, a lot of power and poise behind the disc for Phoenix. So the sooner they can crack through the zone and figure it out, the better. Right now, the handlers having no issue moving the disc to the high side of the field, making those swings. Oh, love that over the top. You see that's going to connect next time. But what I would like to see is the continuations, the downfield getting open for them, really commanding that downfield space, working to get open. It looks like that turnover is going to stand, though.
Yeah, it really is. It comes down to those continuation passes, as you say, Kelsey. The alternative is we find, hey, we get a 5 meter, 6 meter gainer pass, and then the players are just waiting for a reset option, and the disc goes back. And while 2 steps forward, 1 step back, ad infinitum is going to be forward progress, keep in mind that these teams, they've only got a certain amount of time in our women's division games. We're looking at a total of 90 minutes to really make their mark on the game and put away a win. So those continuations allow for not just 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but 2 steps forward and then another 2 or 3 or 4 steps forward, again, really eating up the field and taking you that much closer to the end zone that is going to help you win the game. Phoenix with a trailing pass on that one, throwing behind the receiver, going to give the disc back to Woof.
Ooh, Blair, I love to see this. Look at that beautiful clean stack in the end zone. They are so set up. A great defensive play there, but I love the execution, the cleanliness of that. It's a very hygienic space.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that we tend to talk about, particularly as we're looking to push towards the end zone, is giving as much space to the cutters as is possible to allow them to work, because it's their work that's going to break free. It's their work that's going to see them put those points away.
Oh, clean,
Good
easy.
Find. Nice find. That looks like that was Kat Adams to Roxburgh for the score for Woof to take them within 2 points of a clean half.
And Adams, down in the other end zone, that last point, causing the drama with her defense chasing around here. Here, throwing in fakes, they were lies. Her mark is jumping at them, but ends up cleanly finding Roxburgh for a beautiful connection. So I'm not sure what Phoenix discussed in that last timeout, bringing the intensity, the pressure, what they're going to fix up. A lot of times it can be helpful to go back to your strategy, the basics, what you've run through, just to reset the minds. Remember, step by step what we're capable of as a team. I think that a little bit more experience on Woof in situations like these when the conditions are not ideal with heavy wind, it really a little bit more experience, having a few more thousand throws under your belt, it can really, separate, make a difference. The wind tends to highlight that a little bit more. Much like muddy conditions tend to bring speed together, faster people become a bit slower. The wind separates it. So Phoenix potentially struggling just a little bit more because they don't quite have the same, depth of players bringing world's level experience and decades of experience that Woof have. Nonetheless, some great connections here.
Chandran again with another block, just parking up in the middle right behind that initial arrowhead wall, doing exactly what she's there to do, closing down those channels. It's Altenberg carry, and Chandran starting the offense off. Comes in low despite a great attempt there by Whistle 4. Oh, there's the bobble, and it's Phoenix with an opportunity. I mean, I agree with what you were saying, Kelsey. I think that it might be interesting to see Phoenix actually pull one of their downfielders back into that upfield space just to narrow the sort of effective field for them. There's a lot of width available to them, but when they maybe don't have as much experience or as much confidence in some of these throws, especially with the conditions that we're dealing with, just that extra support to allow them to keep moving the disc might be a nice little adjustment that we might see them make.
Marilite Barletta with the disc swinging to Rossignon.
Chips around, finds Jones. Rawstorm puts a big shot up.
That's a territorial move. Again, showing Woof that when the disc is in her hand, she can launch it. At the same time, it's a tough catch to make when it's coming down hard in an angle like that. Not not hugely open as a player with Altenberg carry in the deep space like that, but early on in the game, definitely territorial and just putting that in the mind of the other team, letting them know that those deep options are still there.
One of the good things about that territorial play as well is by forcing Woof that much further to their own defensive end zone, it does limit the range a little bit. You've got a player like Altenberg carry, even if in these conditions she's got a solid 40-meter throw under her belt, pushing her that far back towards the end zone means they've got more opportunities or more passes they can force to potentially generate a turnover and give them an opportunity.
It's really exciting to see Woof playing here. Having played them at the Southern qualifiers, always a really spirited team, a really fun team to play against, coming out firing. Good in showing the importance of backing up your teammates. They're soon taking a first bite and good in cleaning up afterwards. But here, they're bringing together such a solid performance and really drawing. It's wild to see the work that they've put in over the past few weeks since that tournament earlier this month. And I think if our team had played them again, the scoreline would be very different. I'm loving the connections that they're making. The true receivers, catching under pressure, clean options, especially in the wind. Yeah, they're playing very well. It's a pleasure to see.
Absolutely. Reynolds just walking that one in almost to take them 1 point away from half. Fantastic work here by Woof. We get to see that again. Altenberg carry finds Reynolds under pretty close coverage. It's a really, really nice pass, just putting it up and over the head, giving her plenty of room to be able to run onto that one.
And we've got fans from all over joining us, people filling out the bleachers, as well as our furry friends on the sideline, and people who've driven up from all over, from Dunedin as well. An exciting time to be, in Otatahi, Christchurch, here at beautiful Bob Dean's Fields at Hagley Park. We have, hoping no doubt to close out the half, Woof hands up signaling that they're ready. I believe that's Simmons with the pull. And again, halftime will be at 8. That said, every time you step on the field, it's a game to 1. So, Phoenix looking to put one on the board. Given the movement, though, it's been impressive. I do like how they've been moving the disc, what they've been doing, and I want to see that happen. It's just these little mistakes, case in point. Nielsen just not being able to reel it in, and the wind's just making everything that much trickier. That's challenging for them. Simmons to pick up.
Supported by Ogilvy. If it's necessary, it's going to be a low shot off the fingertips. Goes back to Phoenix. Pushing far sideline. Centering back towards Mercer.
Beautiful backup there.
Beautifully fielded by Van Can. Looking for some nice quick continuation. Deciding to push. Near side to McIntosh. Touched through by Simmons for the block.
That window was tight. It was a tight one to play with. You've got to be an experienced seamstress if you're going to thread needles like that.
Or not able to get the reset off to Roxburgh, and so we are going to see Phoenix with an opportunity to put it on the board. If Woof want to hold on to their perfect first half, they really are going to have to fire up for this next possession. Phoenix are one throw away from putting their first point on the board.
And that left downfield corner,
we're seeing those cuts happen.
Is where it's going to happen, precisely, with the wind. And well done, well executed. Great spacing with the players there to put a point on the board for Phoenix.
Nice, strong showing by Phoenix there to be able to generate the turn, to be able to put one on the board, to be able to answer back, and for it to be so clean and efficient right on the doorstep. It can be really, really easy, even for experienced teams, to throw away those kind of opportunities. Maybe by forcing it, being a little bit too hungry. Phoenix doing a phenomenal job there of just taking their time. We could see 2 cuts developing. One was cutting from the front of the stack or from that isolation player looking to push towards that front cone. But you could see there was backup as well, cutting from behind the stack, recognizing that the defense was on the back shoulder. If that first cut had not gone, if there was too much on the defense, that throw still could have gone up and still led to the Phoenix score. So some great forward thinking there by those downfielders.
Forward thinking, or potentially back up thinking. And that's what we've seen over the course of the day as well, especially in these windy conditions. Backup players scoring the points. In the previous game, hailing from Wellington, playing with Dragon Ladies Faith Escarlon, the queen of cleaning up at the end of the day, clean up, everybody everywhere, scored 3 points because of it. with discs that just sailed over the intended receiver. So beautiful to see that as well. You know, Phoenix right now, true to their name, and may look like a pile of ashes at any point, but very much alive, coming back to life with fire, looking at coming out on defense. We'll see what they're going to run. I would expect it to be a zone again in these conditions. Adam, in the meantime, fielding to Altenberg carry. Love the tenacity coming down on defense. Ursua.
Hayes nearly getting that run-through block, but Woof are going to be able to retain it. Reynolds pushing towards the far sideline, couldn't get it into the hands of Gillespie, and so Phoenix, their defense having done, I think their first one, that great run-through by Hayes, to just put a little bit of fear in the Woof hearts. Sending it long.
Wow.
Turning over a little early.
You know, I love the huck, I love the option, but that's a difficult one, Blair.
And just looking across all of the games we've seen today, how many of those hucks on those really, really long shots, particularly towards that end zone, have we seen come away?
That one.
Not many, yeah.
That shot in particular.
While we are in the Canterbury region, in the immortal words of Scribe, not many, if any.
If any, yeah.
Great run through there by Wiskel.
I'm consistently impressed with Phoenix's defense right now. They're bringing so much energy to it, and their defense is really, really serving them well. While their offense is still working to put points on the board, their defense is generating turnovers. Across the board, across a lot of players as well.
Big fakes. Trying to get the defense to shift.
Oh, a huge break there.
Hayes wanting to follow that up with the upline, decides that it's not going to be the option just yet. Big touches by the Woof defense to shut that one down.
Altenberg carry with Chandran. Swinging up high to Ursua, and the wind gets the better of it. Says no, no, no.
And that's exactly the kind of thing that Phoenix are looking for here. A turnover close to the end zone. They've been able to execute from this exact position. And so we see Rosinho setting up the front of stack. Eldenberg carry, long limbs, a lot of reach. He's going to take up a lot of real estate in front of the thrower, hoping to shut that one down.
You know, it's tough. It's a tough situation to be in. I love, the hand on the head, indicating stall out. Altenberg carry says that she said the T of 10 before the disc went up. The turnover stands. She's looking for the lefty backhand, opting for the flick. Looking for options. Again, great defense from Phoenix right now, shutting down so many options.
Eldenberg carry doing a lot of initiating work here, trying to utilize some of those give-go plays to eat up the field. Just a couple of steps, a couple of meters at a time. We're going to see it swing back the other way. Phoenix with a chance here.
Rosinho looking for options, going for the swing. Downwind, and that laser came out. She was open, and I love the shot, but again, in the wind, you need to be throwing with power, and I think that was a little more than what the receiver was looking for. Again, back to the furried friends on the sideline, appreciating the level of ultimate in the field, trying to stay warm in these windy conditions. Altenberg carry finding Chandran. The dynamic duo in the downfield.
Working hard, just a couple of meters at a time. Big fakes, getting the defense on a big old spin cycle. Stall count's getting high. Hayes applying pressure. It's not going to be enough. We're pushing towards the far sideline. We've got Reynolds working with Chandran at about the halfway mark.
I'm really enjoying, you know, these handlers when they're thinking about it, when they're executing properly the touch on these upwind throws. You know, they're soft throws, but Chandran especially right now, I knew she threw a swilly one before it resulted in a turnover, but wow, that defense, Blair!
Hayes gets in the ways. It's going to be a turnover for the Phoenix and an opportunity for them now to push back towards the far sideline.
I love the intensity they're bringing here.
It's so good to see. And this, I think, is kind of emblematic of the Phoenix's playstyle that we've seen so far. They're doing amazing work on defense. It's that lack of precision, maybe from a result of a lack of experience, just in the couple of passes that happen immediately after that turn. They can generate those turns without without seeming like they're expending too much effort to do it. We're going to see Hayes take a substitution, so an injury substitution. Both teams in an instance where there's an injury substitution, so Hayes is leaving the field for Delpachitra, and Woof have an opportunity to make a substitution of their own, but it looks like they're all staying fresh, they're all staying hot, they're going to just go for it. Chandran on a great cut on the up line, right on the doorstep, hoping to take half here.
Oh, working with Altenberg Hayes, they just have eyes for each other, working it so well together.
Could not get it there. A little bit too much of a leading pass, and then the wind dies out from underneath it. The disc falls to the ground, and Phoenix are going to pick up.
Yeah, holstering for just another second, I think, would have made that connection. But again, Phoenix with another opportunity. Off to the races with Hawks, with movement, especially in the downfield. Great read. Love the gainer there.
Fantastic takes, the trailing grab as well. We're seeing Woof having moved. Oh, a great work there.
Ursua just getting in the way.
That was good defense. That kind of recognition, hey, this strike cut is a threat. I need to take up as much space as I can. Altenberg carry now, hoping to finish off the half. Great take by Woof there. Back through to Altenberg carry. Through to Chandran, picking through the Phoenix defense.
Chandran looking for options. They're looking to each other. We have Adams unmarked on the open side.
All the way through to Reynolds. The defense a little bit out of position. Adams available as a reset.
And I think she's seeing Ursua upfield, but again, it's a tough throw, completely upwind. Adams looking for the inside out, opting for the swing.
Finds Ursua back to Adams in center field.
And you see, that was a turnover, a nice bid, but how much rotation there was out of the handler space. We saw Adams and Ursua essentially replacing the positions that Chandran and Altenberg Carey were in previously, and it's something I love to see in a team, the diversity of skill, people being able to fill in and fill out.
It's one of those things that I think a lot of people who are relatively new to Ultimate get a bit confused by the fact that it isn't a positional sport the way that basketball, netball, rugby, football are. There are definitely roles on a field, and we're seeing players like Altenberg Carey and Chandran take dominantly handler roles. But because the skill set, I guess the fundamental skill set is required of every player on the field, you do have an opportunity, particularly when you have depth of talent like Woof are putting on display. You have the opportunity for your downfielders to roll back into that handler space, take more of a quarterbacking or leadership role on a given position. A huge run through by the Phoenix there. And it's nicely intercepted.
Blair, I think also representative of a good team. It's a much more modern play style as opposed to the positions that we've seen historically of your role and staying in your role. We have Phoenix on offense now. After another incredible, unsurprising defense play, I'm expecting a bobble there, but I'm expecting almost this tenacity and intensity generating those turns on defense for Phoenix. It's a pleasure to watch. We've got Altenberg Carey playing a smile to the camera, picking up the disc.
Yeah, that little eyebrow raise tells a story. We're going to see Ursula with the rundown. Reynolds with a continuation option. It's not going to happen just yet. Deciding to go back to Altenberg Carey. The defense scrambling and swarming. The pressure is applied. We're closing those doors a little bit. Huge touch there again. Number 42 for the Phoenix is going to generate that turn.
She has her number. She knows where the disc is going to be. That's the second one in a row. Across the team, again, we're seeing every single player from Phoenix hungry to make that defensive play.
I think on this point as well, we haven't actually seen Woof playing out of their zone again. They've been going back to a match defense, which is just, it's great to see them mix it up. They know that the zone has worked. Now, admittedly, having gone to that match defense, we're seeing Phoenix have a little bit more of an opportunity. Great take there.
Amazing. That was awesome. Oh, and windless conditions, the player that would have connected.
Oh, 100%. In windless,
she knows.
In windless condition, that was the throw to make. And even then, I think it's one of those things, like just from a physics perspective, the longer the disc is in the air, the more time there is for wind to have an effect on it. So even that same throw a little faster might have pushed far enough for that to have been the completion that Woof were looking for. But they've pushed Phoenix back into their own defensive zone.
You know, that's a good decision to make, to drop immediately behind, but when you do that, you have to swing it immediately, because otherwise you're just getting pushed farther back into even more of the coffin. You're getting deeper and deeper into the earth. Yeah, exemplified by that D that Woof has made. Wow!
Inside break to Altenberg carry by Chandran to take half on the back of a great block by Collier to give back possession.
Just to harp on that throw, like, the amount of power you need to put on an inside pass in the wind to get it off. And what we saw there was, what, a 3-meter pass. We'll see that one more time. So the softness, like the softness and the tiny window for error. I'm so impressed with that throw. Excellent execution. Well-deserved point.
Just a phenomenal way for Woof to put a pin in the first half of the game. The score currently 8-1 in favor of the side from Dunedin. We are going to take a short break while these teams have a timeout, a small half-time break to rehydrate, to reconsolidate, to figure out what the next half of this game is going to look like for each of these sides. But
and
until
sunscreen as well.
Absolutely, considering how hard these teams are working, they will have sweated off your old Cancer Society's SPF 30+. So it is time to reapply. But you folks watching at home, don't go anywhere. You might not even have time to go and get a cup of tea. And even if you did, you'd be spilling it with excitement by the time the second half starts. This is the women's division of the 2025 Division 2 Ultimate Championships in ULTI.TV, Christchurch. My name is Blair Monroe.
I'm Kelsey Bielik.
We'll be back very soon. Kia ora, e te whānau, and welcome back to the second half of this exciting game in our women's division for the 2025 Division 2 Ultimate Championships in WOMENS, Christchurch, here at Bob Deansfield in sunny. Are we in Hagley Park?
We're in Hagley.
We're in Hagley Park, so
Yeah.
we're at fields within Hagley Park, in much the same way that we live in. Oh, there we go.
More views of Hagley Park and the ULTI.TV crew enjoying the sunshine here at halftime, who are here making it happen. A bit of a behind-the-scenes shot. Now we're looking at Woof, who's getting hyped, bringing in halftime, no doubt looking to close things out as quickly as they can.
Now, with the score being 8-1, Woof have taken half, and they are going to... I think they're going to start on offense. So yes, it looks like we're going to have Phoenix coming out on defense for the start of the second half. We are about 52 minutes in to our 90-minute soft cap. So it's a testament to just how much defense is being played. The fact that it has taken more than half of our allotted time to score more than half of the points required to win the game.
And you know, Blair, that's been a highlight for me for the first half, is the intensity that Phoenix has brought out on the field. Not just from often what you see from a few players, but from the entire team.
Yeah, like
they've been a walking highlight reel. I should say running and jumping highlight reel of blocks, reading the space. So yeah, really drawing out that time.
Absolutely. It's the fact that the Phoenix players seem to be everywhere, and it is, as you say, it's not just isolated to one player. We're seeing a zone defense from them now, playing in a I guess reverse arrowhead almost. Still a 3-3-1. It's going to be enough to generate the turn. Altenberg carry can't continue. We're going to see Maruli de Baleta threading one through a little bit outside. The outstretched hands of Allen is going to give it back. Simmons and Altenberg carry puts it long.
Yes, launching it. Oh, and that is consistently...
It's that same thing, as you've said, Kelsey. That huck to that corner has not come away.
I think we've seen a connection, and you love to see that huck coming off, but either the throwers need to put, the softest touch on it, or the receivers just need to be running for that far corner in order for it to come off. Oh, great defensive pressure there. She was there. We had, who was that, McIntosh running through. I love the strike cut, but responding like kind with similar defensive pressure. Altenberg carry throwing to the high side, finding Simmons.
Kelsey, I do have to wonder whether or not we might need to get a local komatua out to just check the field out. I mean, considering how often we've seen that huck just not come off, could be that the grounds are cursed. Whomst can say.
Oh, what? A little slingshot in the hands, and that's also indicative of windy conditions. Team, just like the first half, there's been no changes in conditions. The wind is gusting across from the far side of the screen to the close side of the screen, across fields winds, which is making life hard for the players on the field, not just in throwing, but in catching. Reeling it in there with some struggles. Bit of a travel maybe on that throw, but Altenberg carry launches it in the end zone.
Great take, hoping to finish things off.
Paquin can't connect, unfortunately.
Now we're going to see Woof back on defense.
Nice. Finding, and this is what I've been enjoying. Phoenix is showing us the connections, because they're more than capable of making them. Moving it across the teams, launching it downfield. Will it stay in bounds? Cross your fingers, and crossing fingers is not enough to tell the wind to calm down a little bit. Love the option, and again, in calm conditions, I think that would have happened just fine. It would have connected, but
absolutely. I mean, we've seen that a couple of times, particularly heading from the right-hand side of your screen to the left, where in other conditions, these throws are spot on. These throws are perfect for an ideal situation, but unfortunately the gods of Ultimate do not always smile down with the ideal weather for the game. So with that little bit of wind, we're seeing that turnover. Altenberg carry is going to bring in and initiate from our near sideline, marked by Mishkov.
And Mishkov, interestingly, she brings the best disc up, but remembers that actually 3 meters within within that space, within the space of the field is where it's kind of a dead space. It needs to be cleared, and that's where you technically pick the disc up on. A short-lived possession from Phoenix after, again, the positioning on the defensive play. Short-lived possession puts the disc again in the hands of Eltenberg Carey. The wizard, the magician herself, have yet to find out again what Hogwarts house she studied in as part of.
Considering the smarts that she's displaying on the field, it's gotta be Ravenclaw, right?
Ravenclaw, yeah, the blue, repping the blue, reading into that. Anyway, yeah.
Great work to find Reynolds in the middle.
Backhand, yeah, easy throw to run onto. Makes it work in the wind. Simmons with the disc, looking for options, and yeah, it looks like a junk that Phoenix is running right now. So a lot of match on the handlers, zone downfield, and I really like that option. I think that makes a lot of sense given the handler movements that that Woof is playing with. It's putting pressure on that. Maybe a little bit of poaching in the handler space, but it's putting pressure on the handlers while downfield, accommodating for any swilliness that might be coming up from connecting throws.
And I think that the thing as well with regards to that sort of like that junk defense, really focusing on pinning down those handlers where possible. You know how they move. You know what kind of movement, what kind of play style they have. If you've got the physicality to meet that matchup and really close them down, it can take so much pressure off the defense. And so even through those long points, when your downfielders are using their fitness, using their athleticism, their legs to do all of that cutting, it takes the pressure off the downfield defense to save some energy for a great offensive push if they can generate the turn.
Nice movement right now, taking the easy passes, finding each other.
Berrios with the disc right on the doorstep, looking back, couldn't connect with Ogilvy. It's going to give Phoenix an opportunity to push back towards the left-hand side of your screen. Maruli de Barletta with the disc, marked by Eltenberg Carey, breaks through, finds Allen. Marked by Reynolds. Reynolds nice and squirrely, going to shut that one down. McIntosh has it. The window's closed. It's a touch by Roberts and pulled down.
She made that deep look. Oh, and a game of Flutterguts as Eltenberg Carey holds onto the disc. Easy.
Ogilvy
Easy
through
peasy.
with a 1-2 punch to put that score on the board.
Yeah, I do want to comment on that last possession that Phoenix had, though. Mishkov streaking deep. Unfortunately, she was cutting to the break side, and I think Maruli de Barletta, she had the backhand. She's put it up before. She was looking potentially to repeat it. And here we are with the game of Flutterguts to the 1-2 punch, as Blair was saying. But again, with Phoenix, she came back. That's number 28. That's what I'm talking about. Streak deep, but unfortunately it was to the break side. And Maruli de Barletta was looking for the backhand and didn't have that break huck, the forehand huck, a really, really difficult throw to put up. But she came all the way back for that swing pass, an unfortunate bobble turnover. But I think it's just a really great example of cutting, of streaking deep and then initiating that undercut. And then also not only initiating that undercut, but seeing it through to seeing the space, the swing space, and cutting right into that. She gave so many options to her team to make that happen, but ultimately resulting in another point for Woof.
And so they're going to come through on defense now. Chandran with the disc for the pull, putting it nice and high. You can see just how much movement there is as a result of the wind, even from the far sideline with the with as little angle as there was, pushes all the way to the near sideline. So it's important at home to keep in mind just how much of a struggle the conditions are making this for our offensive players here.
And interesting to see a vertical stack with a zone again melting out into zone offense. Potentially it was a pull play they were looking at running through.
I do like to see Woof returning to that zone structure that's worked as well for them as it has.
Ursua inches away from getting that defensive play. Oh!
Eaten up by Roxburgh. One or two passes away. There's Ursua right on the edge. Can she close this out, or are we going to look for a reset option? Roxburgh's a little bit pinned down by Wiskel.
Yeah, that's some great positioning.
Oh, just outside, but also with Chandran taking a tumble, that may have had a play, but it looks like the turnover's going to stand. Now, this is where Woof's zone is going to shine.
Ooh,
they just need to restructure a little bit, really force that trap. Roxburgh not giving away any space towards the side, having Ursua shutting down that near side channel.
Look at it. making the huck the only option. And, you know, I respect Maruli de Beletta for putting that up because, just as Blair was saying, shut down. A terrifying place to be as a handler.
Absolutely. I think one of the key things to recognize is the fact that having already set up the zone makes that so much easier. If you can generate a turn on the sideline, calling a trap from match defense can work, but everyone has to scramble to make sure they're on the same page. There, Roxburgh already knew, I'm the one on the mark, and I know Ursua's off my left shoulder. And so that was just fantastic work there, right on the doorstep. Chandran has it now. Can't quite push along that same inside break. Is it going to be good? Looks like it's a little papaku, a little bit low for that one. Great attempt by Roxburgh to keep that in hand. That same inside break.
Whew. Yeah, you know, she's put that up before. I was talking about the touch to take half on that inside shot, but yeah, that one, as you just said, a little too low. Maruli de Berletta working the downfield.
Chipping around so they're not going to make the same mistake. Like Roger Daltrey famously sang, I won't get fooled again. Nice and long. A Callahan opportunity is not going to be there. Rossignol with the disc, pushing towards the far sideline, being able to use more and more of the space, forcing that that zone to be less of a trap, but a great touch there.
And Blair, I want to see the throw and go in situations like that, because as you've mentioned, as we've seen like multiple times this point, when Woof gets the opportunity to trap on the sideline, they will. It makes it dangerous to swing to the low side of the field despite how open that player is. I want to see them throw and immediately give an opportunity right away once they do that.
Absolutely, and I think particularly when you're looking at players in the downfield space, it's important for one of those, for the person with the disc, right, immediate centering pass, immediate swing pass, and then something explosive across towards the other side of the field. Nice angled cutout in front of the disc, leaving the defense on the back foot. But then importantly, also having one of your downfielders aware and ready to potentially cycle back into that handler space if that reset option is necessary. So we're going to see it again, see Ursua pinned right against the far sideline.
Great cover, and you know, great recognition as well. Jane's coming all the way under. Everyone's coming into the cup.
We see it a second time, having to do that high stall bailout throw, trying to just get out of that corner. Even though they're playing defense now, it's an opportunity for them to really pour on the pressure. We know what kind of defensive energy Phoenix have brought to this game so far. It's Roxburgh with the disc, supported by Chandran. Cuts early in that vertical stack.
That's a hard throw.
It absolutely is, and Phoenix are grateful for the opportunity. You can tell, no longer pinned down in their zone. Yes, Woof still have that zone defensive structure played on them, but now they've got room behind them to work with as well.
Nice,
but
nice
who
cleanup.
needs it?
Nice support.
Blundell.
And now is when you need the options. If you're putting it, oh wow!
Just
she got a hand
off the
to it.
hands. Whistle in a great position there, but that just turned over a little too early. Started to come down edge first. It's a hard catch to make it the best of times.
It definitely is, you know, and the power you need to be putting on the outside edge of that huck, it's tough in the wind. And of course now it dies, you know. If that play had happened 7 seconds later,
yeah,
it would have been a stall out. But yeah, just the gusty nature of the wind. We have Woof back on offense. Chandran looking for options, finding Adams downfield on the low side, and Adams threading the needle to Ursua. I love that throw. Yes, yes, yes.
Roxburgh working with Adams, punching through the midfield, keeping a disc nice and centered. Ursua in a great position, but the disc came in a little low.
Yeah, lovely to see the lasers. Difficult to catch them in your hands. Very difficult, let me tell you.
I think that's why my housemates' cats are so frustrated all the time.
Oh, that might explain the mental health. Rossignol.
Oh, good attempt by Whistle again to provide that backup.
Oh, I get so stoked. Next time, you know, she's had some rubbish being thrown her way, you know, blades, you know, but she's been putting it all out. These will be, you know, resulting in catches, miscommunication there, unfortunate miscommunication in the handler space. But I was
going to just say, great fake by Adams to pull the defense towards that near sideline and open up that recentering pass. Just a shame they weren't able to get it to reconnect. Rosinho through to De Baletta.
Wow, great find in the corner there. A bit of a travel. Oh, picking up her pivot foot, but you know, unsure if it affected the throw or not. It's not called on the field, so it's not a problem.
I think maybe because she received the disc static with both feet on the ground and technically hadn't established a pivot at that point.
Great point, Blair. That is a great point. Your pivot can be the opposite foot if you haven't established one.
Yeah, so keeping that right foot on the ground, it was the left foot that pivoted around. We'll get to see it again. Nice cheeky little off-pivot throw to close that out. We see De Baletta again. Body facing towards that far sideline to open up all that space, making sure the defensive player, stays occupied, able to push through and get one through to Whistle for Phoenix's second score of the game as we go 9-2.
And I love
the 68th minute.
Maruli De Berletta's vision there. She saw that open side player. Chandran was a few steps off of her, but you know, placing it's a tough window to make, but she just dropped it straight into the corner there. Open side, easy throw to make, but perfect touch on it to set up the hockey assist for that point. The hockey assist, of course, being the assist to the assist. Yeah, and a well-deserved second point on the board for Phoenix. The score now 9-2, inching closer towards that 15 goal that Woof is looking to get to as quickly as possible. Phoenix with their tenacious defense and now stronger connections that they're making, especially in this wind, to make that as hard as possible, potentially get there first themselves. A long road ahead of them.
Eltenberg carried working in the upfield space again. Roberts doing some great job on those undercuts as well. Stretching in a little bit so the throws aren't having to be as forced or as long. They're not under as much pressure. Having separation from the defense allows them to keep the disc moving. Eltenberg carry has it now near side. Pushes through. Finds Paquin. Not quite able to connect.
Yeah,
good vision though. Good vision.
She was
great
open,
choice. Yeah.
You know, just tough misconnection.
I'd have done the same thing.
Mishkov. Trying to connect with Rossillon. Can't see it into hands. Altenberg carry with an option now. Dangerous place for a player like this, you know, to have the disc. Engaging the reset. Simmons, a little bit of flutter guts, but catches it safely. You see just the flood of orange players around the disc. Phoenix has the pressure on. The disc sits up.
Oh, not able to do it. Something that I did love seeing on that sequence there from both Eltenberg, Carey, and Simmons is the way they stay fully engaged with their defense. So they turn infield. They're engaging their reset handler. They're waiting for that strike cut. They're not turning to it early to avoid over-communicating to their mark what their intentions are. So holding the defense out of position as long as possible, and then a quick shimmy to push through. But it's Phoenix now coming back the other way. Del Pachitra with the disc, working through.
I love this. Great leading passes right now. They're doing a fantastic job of leading players onto the throw. Nice touch with that as well. Just a few steps in front, so easy to kind of run onto. That one's a bit floaty, comes up high. Altenberg Carey can't teach height with her.
Roberts pushing deep, looking over his shoulder. It's not going to come away.
And Phoenix are off to the races. That's an unfortunate bobble, you know, an open player like that. I think just another second of execution of poise, of readying yourself before putting the throw up. Well, Woof has it again. Altenberg, it looks like Simmons to pick up.
They're starting to hit the point where even in these conditions, those dominant handlers for Woof, we're starting to move within their range for a 1-2 finish.
Wow.
Great eat there by Gillespie.
Wow!
And that's going to be enough to knock them into...
Bada boom.
Bayday bing, bayday boem, you said it.
Bada woof.
Woof to go. 10 points breaking the double-digit barrier. Back up by 8 over Phoenix's 2.
Yep. You know, fantastic connections there. I've said it a few times. Great display on the field. Connecting the players. Backing up the players. You know, backing each other up. When it sails over the hands of the first player, they're there ready to support each other. Yeah, and it's a great connection. Great connection for the point. Inching closer, step by step. We've seen the dogs on the sidelines having a good time on the field. They're barking as well, racing towards the scoreboard. Adams with disc in hand, she's going to be pulling. Oh, there's the furry friends. Adams is going to be pulling the disc to Phoenix, waiting to come out on offense. And again, keen to continue to see how they've been building off their learnings over the course of the game. I think really improving their connections. Seeing the way in which they're leading each other a little bit more, making it easier on each other. And then, again, the tenacity and the bids on defense and offense that we've seen from these players. Keen to see more of that. The disc goes up and sailing right out of bounds. I think a strategic area to potentially take it from the sideline.
So some great off-field communications, just signaling where the disc went out of bounds.
Mishkov has the backs of her teammates when she's on the field, whether streaking deep and coming under, always providing an open opportunity or identifying from the sideline. Yeah, and great spirit also from Woof, kind of identifying that they can take a few more meters out of that. Wow, very close to the end zone there.
Again, depending on how they play here, just a couple of passes, some early fakes to kind of communicate.
Wow.
Whiskell's
that's
got it.
Blair.
Just the one.
A one throw point. You know, that's not even a 1-2 punch. That's a pow. Bang. Knockout. One and done.
In the immortal words of Kendrick Lamar, bing, bop, boom, bing, bing, bop, bam.
Just one of those.
Just one of those is all you need.
Yeah, that's it. A little brah. And it's there. Yeah, great point for Phoenix. I love the shot, the release, kind of the technique on that throw. You know, she has it on the high side, so she's not necessarily fighting with the wind, but it's also not going entirely cross fields with the wind really pushing it out of bounds. Great power on it, great inside touch. I love the step out on the throw. And then the receiver as well, in space. You know, no bobble, safely in the breadbasket. A great point. And also, potentially an opportunity to discuss the importance of the pull. You know, when the pull goes awry, it can really give the other team an option to score that easily.
But I think it's also important to recognize from an offensive perspective, hey, the pull's gone out of bounds. What do we need to do to get the most out of this? And in a lot of situations, depending on how the defense have actually set up, it's looking for that centering pass early to give yourself as many options. Situation like that, though, nice open opportunity, a nice quick through shot to put that point away, being close enough to the end zone that you can afford to take maybe a couple of extra risks with the throw selection. Roxburgh and Simmons initiating. We see Ogilvy coming back to provide support. It's 3 back now for Woof as we see a zone defense from Phoenix.
I love these handler marks. I love it. Yep.
It works. It just works.
The pressure with the wind, making it happen. Yeah, so great to see the intensity and the development and how far Phoenix is coming.
Not able to pull that one through, though. The wind gusting up again means that's just maybe had a little bit of heat on it. Bounces off the hands, and Woof have an opportunity here.
Oh, heartbreak.
Great work, though, with the intention of the offense pushing back into the upfield space, causing the handlers to move a little out of position and open up that shot through to Roxburgh, but weren't able to connect.
Oh, it's back and forth. We're playing a game of table tennis right now. There we go. I'm keen to see these secure connections happening. You know, great decisions, both teams. Really finding the open players. Right now, it's moving a bit fast. I'd like to see both teams slow down the tempo a little bit. There have been 4 or 5 quick turnovers in a row. Yeah, I want to see a slightly longer possession.
Whiskell, coming in on just the wrong shoulder, fading back behind her. Going to give the disc back to Roxburgh to initiate. Finds Simmons far sideline, putting a big shot up.
That is a tough catch.
Oh, I love that, though. Like, Jones-Rawson getting up, blocking that one. It didn't go to ground, but just great positioning so that Woof were not able to recover.
Adam's really coming around on the mark, seeing where the reset is coming from. Nice connections from Phoenix right now. That is going to be punished, though. That high release without touch on it.
Collier looked off in favor of a reset to Ogilvy, threading it through, manages to find Adams. Nice little pass back across to Ogilvy, a little bladey peeling away. Again, not going to connect.
Disc fading away. The away fade when it's going away from you, it's even harder to catch. Mercer launching it downfield, finding the welcoming arms of Papatuanuku. Hitting the ground, Simmons with the disc.
Calling a timeout
Fair
again.
Enough.
As we say on the sidelines, and certainly once you hit Masters age, a veteran call there.
It's a veteran call.
It's a veteran call. So this point in particular has been going on a little while. We've seen a lot of pressure leading to turns on both sides. It's an opportunity for the offense to reset, to establish a structure, figure out what their game plan is, hopefully put this point away quickly. For the defense, similar thing. What are we responding to? What are their threats? Can we take a second, even just a mouthful of water to help cool things down? Give ourselves an opportunity to reset. We're working hard on defense. We're tired, so are they. Who's got the grit? Who can pull up those last reserves of stamina in these late stages of the game?
You know, Blair, we were talking before, there was a timeout in the first half, and we were talking before about what the teams were looking to say, and we're talking a lot about, Phoenix right now looking to see what they can do, throwing a wrench in the momentum, while Woof looking to maintain that. And just as you were saying, this is the type of timeout that both teams are going to be digging deep on. It's just as advantageous and beneficial, advantational and beneficious for both teams to be taking this, because again, the tempo of each possession is so quick before it turns over. I think teams making connections, but the classic fading away from the receiver, which has resulted in turnovers. The baubles, the fires to no one in particular, the shots to no one in particular.
There are opportunities for easy adjustments, easy wins, right?
Yeah.
Levers that don't take a lot of effort to pull, but that are going to yield large rewards for the teams who can find them. Exactly as you're saying, we're seeing some throws coming out where they're maybe a little bit edge high, the disc is peeling away from the receiver. You want to float it out in front of the receiver so they can run onto it, or at the absolute outside, you want to throw it out in front of them and have it peel back towards them for an easy catch. It's just minor adjustments. Holding on for half a second before uncorking the throw, making sure the receiver recognizes that it's coming. Little adjustments that yield big rewards. It becomes about efficiency. Efficiency on the field. How do we stop ourselves from having to play defense for another 2 or 3 minutes? How can we reserve our legs for the final stretches of the match?
That's it. That's exactly it. And whether that's taking a breather, having some water, bringing the energy back to your team, your teammates, having a fired up cheer at the end. Both teams are looking to do that as they're bringing it out on the field. Now, within a timeout, generally you call it on offense, and the people who are on offense set first. So now that they're both out of the huddle, offense sets, and once you're set, you can't move on the field. You have to stay fixed. From there, defense will set, and as you can imagine, when we're here on the field, sure, it's what you do, but it really makes sense when you're in the end zone, you set up an end zone play, and the importance of that is the offense sets, and then defense can go wherever they want on the field to play defense. So offense, we can see now they're set, technically can't move, and then defense comes to mark them. Strategic things to do in this situation. If you're running match, maybe switch to a zone.
Absolutely.
Switch the mark.
I was just going to say the exact same thing. We're in a situation where the defense get to respond to what the offense does. You can use that 60 seconds or 75 seconds to resort to a zone that you've worked really, really well. Hey, we're going to go that
Adams,
same...
so poached.
So
Don't
wide
leave
open.
her poached. The woman is sneaky. She's full of lies. She will punish that.
Oh!
What a catch!
We're seeing Roxburgh call that one in immediately.
It's
a little tough to see from here.
Love the completion, though. All right, let's see that one more time, guys.
Ogilvy putting it up the line, not going to find Roxburgh. Instead,
what?
Oh, if we call
Did
that under control on the back foot, that would be in.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to see.
Yeah.
But again, as we've said a couple times, it's a player-officiated sport. Oh, yeah, no, I think that was on the back foot.
You know what? Up to the people on the field to
Absolutely. Like I say, player-officiated sport. We are just a couple of chattering, talking heads over here in the booth. It comes down to those individuals on the field. Well, there's a chattering, talking head and a beautiful, remarkably talented musician slash commentator slash...
we're both talking heads, guys. We're both talking heads.
So it comes down to those players to make a decision as to what the ideal resolution is. Now, a reminder as well that in accordance with the WIFDIF current rule set, where you have things like photographic evidence or the game is being streamed, you can offer perspective only if it does not advantage your team. So if we had a WIF player come through, see that highlight and say that, oh yes, that was in,
they could potentially inform their team if the team on the field, if they're invited to talk. It looks like the disc might be headed back, which indicates that it's a contested out call. You know, and the sport and the methodology, the process of the rules is built to accommodate for that. You know, if there's disagreements, that there's an outcome for that. So you know, that's what's happening, and that's the most important part, that there's conversation, and you know, it's all good to disagree on what you think happened. As we all know, memories can be faulty sometimes.
Ogilvy finds Roxburgh this time. Back to Ogilvy. Working through, nice little through shot there. Finds Simon. We see the shoulder shimmy, not going to be enough to open a window for her.
Oh, some great options happening from that stack, but none of them quite ready, quite good enough for the handlers. The handlers are playing a smart game right now. Simmons, Ogilvy, waiting for the right option to show up, you know? They want a little bit more separation, and with the type of defense that Phoenix is playing, that's difficult to get. Phoenix right now pushing the handlers back. Ooh. That's some fantastic defense. Do you see how many meters they lost over the course of that possession before forcing the turnover? Adams taking it to action roll instead of a bid, knowing that she couldn't quite get there, even if she'd taken to the skies. Maybe stuck in defensive mindset, looks like a hit down to the ground instead of a catch. But we have Simmons with the disc, launching it downfield, and Mercer with the D. You know, it was a beautiful throw. I love the control on it. Despite the fact that it's very windy, it sailed up and down into the end zone. It wasn't being pushed out of bounds, but yeah, perfect positioning from Mercer to get the D on that throw. She's now picking up and finding an easy option downfield. The disc goes up. What would have been, again, just an easy dishy pass, an easy reset in calm conditions turns into a turnover. Adams with the disc, looking for options, faking off Simmons.
Touch off the hands of Ogilvy to give the disc back to Phoenix.
And you know, the timeout happened a while ago. I feel like the gameplay has cleaned up. So, you know, both teams have done, no doubt, what they talked about in their huddles. Love to see that coming out on the field. But also, it's still dragging on as a point. Quite a long one at that.
Nielsen with the disc pinned down, manages to chip through, finds Wiskel. Marked by Roxburgh, forcing towards the near sideline, gets around.
So now the disc on the low side of the field is getting a little bit cluttered. Phoenix right now really punishing that open side, though. There's not as many breaks coming out or, you know, resulting in a turnover. I'd like to see Woof clamping down on that open side a little bit more downfield to stop them from just pushing it down the sideline.
I mean, and when we've seen Woof put their zone in place, we've seen that used to really strong effect on the sidelines. But as we're looking at more of a, when we're not looking away, when we're moving away from that zone defense rather, it's a little bit harder for them to execute as smoothly. But as you say, Kelsey, I would love to see it.
Off the hands of Adams, who is looking for that high side swing. Wow, a big hut goes up, but Simmons is in place to get that D. And off the hands of Roxburgh.
It's tough in these conditions with this amount of wind.
What?
High shot goes up. Great Whakatai upper there. Beautiful box out on the defense.
Yeah. Yeah. Simmons with the disc.
Again, just
looking for
cutting
the
off
hawk
that
again.
channel with the body, I think, is the key thing.
You know, that's the third one in a row. I would like to, you know, see options developing for those hawks maybe.
Oh, great strike defense there, but Wiskel still got it.
You know, great option there. I love that continuation pass. Hate to hear the sorry on the field because you know it was there. Next time that's going to be a catch.
Wiskel with the emphasis on that one, putting it down on the ground like a punctuation mark. Straight to the hands. Simmons in the way.
I'm not sure if it's in the wind or what's happened, but the tempo of turnovers has stood up. Really picked up in the last few points.
There's a Callahan by Wiskel. Oh,
wow.
I don't think anyone on the Phoenix side is going to sleep tonight, regardless of the final scoreline.
Wow.
Seeing a huge run through there.
Is fantastic.
Great way to put that one on. That was Wiskel.
Amazing.
I mean, getting those blocks generated and those turnovers, but it's that right there, that vision, seeing, hey, they're trying to center it. They're pinned back down into their own end zone. If I run through now, if I really pour on the gas, that's going to be all we need. And there we go. Phoenix putting another one on the board.
I think stoked to kind of pull that point to a close, but also, you know, when we're seeing Phoenix with that tenacity, and that's not just something they're bringing to this game, you can tell that's something that they train. That's an attitude. It's you know, an ethos, if you will, to quote another team name within the Credo Club, that they carry with them, because she's tuned in to that the entire time, looking for those options. And when you're seeing plays that have been happening over the course of this game, defensive plays that Phoenix has been putting out there, intercepting the disc, always running through, you know, knowing that it's always an option for their hands as defenders and not sitting back and being lazy about it, that's when you get plays like that happening. You know, you're priming yourself to be able to capitalize on a Callahan when it happens. It's paying off, and not just with a turnover, but here in a point, the most glorious of all points.
What a beautiful one it was. Now, Phoenix are going to come out here on defense. We're getting very, very close to our 90-minute soft cap. About a minute and a half left before we hear that hooter go. In fact, I think the hooter might have technically already gone, but we had a slight delay of game. So we're going to go based on our clock, unless the players decide something different. Chandran working with Eltenberg carry. Ursua there in support in the upfield space. Reynolds in the downfield.
Eltenberg carry looking for options. Finding Chandran again.
Paquin and Chandran working together. Finds Eltenberg carry pushing up towards the far sideline.
You know, it's interesting to see they're really keeping it on the high side of the field. You know, it makes sense with the force, but oftentimes you see the disc trapped on the low side. Phoenix has been doing a little bit of this and trying to work it up the low side, and right now it's kind of fun to see that they're just working it up the high side. It's a very powerful place to have the disc, but also on the opposite ends, usually not great to just be working it up the sideline. Good to have in the middle of the field. So it's just kind of a funny note.
Yeah, it's a balance, right? There's the technical skill required to maintain possession while the defense is forcing you down a very, very narrow channel. But by the same token, keeping it on the high side, keeping it where they're not having to throw into the wind, takes some of the pressure off them. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
That's it exactly, Blair.
Yeah, it's a good position for them to be in, but they are being held there by the defense.
And now we see a turnover. Altenberg carry with a big mark on. It looks like she's trying to stop the Hawks.
And
sometimes situations like that, it's helpful to get your body behind the disc. It's hard. It's hard to see that happen. A great cut and great execution on the throw.
Eltenberg carry, Paquin. It's high. Paquin can't be the one to touch it. Eltenberg carry can get underneath it though.
Can't teach high Blair.
It's good to see as well, I mean, with the offensive pressure that we're seeing from Woof, that the defense is kind of having to move in and out a little bit. In the immortal words of Fred Durst, breathe in, now breathe out. We're seeing them pushing in, pulling out.
How many yards they've lost? They pushed them all the way back to past half field. strong zone that Phoenix was setting there. Phoenix seemed to really, in that last point, maybe it was the Callahan, turned up the tempo.
Absolutely. I mean, that was a great opportunity there for McIntosh. Wasn't able to come through, finds Nielsen. Haynes has it.
Making connections where they were struggling before. Yeah, I mean, that defense with the zone that they set, now the movement that they're having on the field, I don't know what was in the water, but it's really doing what it's needed to do.
Maruli de Valeta not able to. Yes, she
beautiful. 2 in a row for Phoenix.
Del Pachitra with the score for Phoenix to bring them back within 5. Now, soft cap having gone, we will be adding 1 to the highest score, in this case 10. It is going to be a strict race to 11. So even though the games in the women's division for the 2025 Division 2 Ultimate Championships are to 15, having hit that soft cap, once that soft cap goes, we conclude the point being played, add 1 to the highest score, and it is a flat race. So 11 points is the target. Phoenix having scored means Woof will start with the disc. It is a dangerous spot for them to be in.
It is. You're starting out, you know, the obvious issue here, of course, Woof starting out on offense. Because when you start out on offense, all you have to do is score the point. And when you're starting out on defense, of course, you have to generate the turnover and then score the points.
Yeah.
So you have a longer road ahead of you. And if Phoenix want to crawl their way back, I don't know, that means they just scored 2 points in a row.
Yeah.
They really have stepped up. I mean, their defense was just shutting down so many options there. And the beautiful connections that they were making when they were on offense to score that point, you know, I'm not going to put it past them. But it's a longer road ahead simply because you have to generate the turnover first.
Absolutely. But by the same token, like the IRA once famously said to Margaret Thatcher, you have to be lucky every day. We only have to be lucky once.
Let's see what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
I'm no crystal ball reader. But Phoenix is going to come out on defense. You know, if I were them, I would consider running that same zone that caused so much drama on the last point.
That junk split where the handlers are marked really aggressively 1-to-1 and the downfield is taking up all those space.
Yeah. Fantastic. Anyway, so we have Woof coming out, Simmons to field the disc with
Working
Roxborough.
with Roxborough. Collier's there in support on the near sideline, unmarked, but that would be that same low side. And so we are seeing that upwind force, which is great work. Roxborough has it. Roxborough again, despite a great attempted a touch by Mercer.
Some
Noor
big
with the
fakes.
disc.
They're just pushing it down the sideline right now. That the wing, I think, needs to look at clamping down a little bit more on the options over there. But the force, incredible job right now at not getting broken.
Losing yards, but keeping possession. Collier fires back.
Take by Gooden.
It's got a lot of height.
Oh, that's
recovers from the stumble. Reynolds has it on the doorstep, just a couple of meters
Simmons,
away. That might be the one.
on
Yes,
her?
it is.
Free as a bird.
I'll tell you who's on her. Nike, the goddess of victory.
Oh, wow.
As Woof pushed that point through, going to 11 after our soft cap. That is going to be the game. A fantastic performance by both of these teams. But again, Woof, their experience on display, the precision of their throws, some of those superstar players who do a good job of rallying everyone towards them is going to be enough to make the difference. Great defensive work by Phoenix, but in terms of that offense, despite the great Callahan by Caitlin Wiskel, it is not going to be enough. So that concludes this game. Brought to you by ULTI.TV, the team here at Bob Dean's Field in Hagley Park in Wiltotahi, Christchurch for the 2025 Division 2 Ultimate Championships. My name is Blair Monroe.
I'm Kelsey Bielek.
And we have one more game on the schedule for you today. Please stay tuned. You're going to love this one. We'll see you again very shortly.
Matewa.
ULTI.TV.